All right, take two on this. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Jiminy Christmas. All right, so welcome back to Comics with Drew. This is just Drew drawing. So, oh yeah, you thought this was just Drew talking about comics. It had nothing to do with Drew making comics, but Drew is making comics. So, as a matter of fact, and this is probably very likely going to end up being the cover of one of the issues for my project, which is called Dark Variants. It's basically like these are webcomic characters that I had created for a webcomic, which was a superhero parody. And I never really did anything other than, for the most part, talking head stuff. And, it wasn't until towards the very end of the actual webcomic, which is still up, by the way, you can see it at vindabud.com. Um, it wasn't until the very end of it that I started drawing things in more of a comic format, like the actual size. So anyway, but I haven't really talked too much about it, and and I do have an idea for. I want this to be like a 6 issue mini series or maybe maxi series. I'm not sure what the whether mini or maxi. I'm not sure what the cutoff for that is, but it's a 6 issue story, and so I'm not sure if I'm gonna make, like, 3 issues really that are double-sized, or if I'm gonna make 6 individual issues and each campaign is gonna have 2 issues per campaign. But before I get into any of that, I have to draw it. So this is me kind of, like, trying to get back into the swing of things and trying to find the style that I'm gonna work with, and I think that this is the style. There's a lot of work I need to add to this. I need to do a lot of, refinement. And basically, if you don't know what goes into drawing a comic, uh, what goes into drawing a comic is a lot of labor. I might draw this character, right, or this character. I might fill up like an entire sketchbook of these characters, one per sketchbook, just to make sure I truly intimately know how the character moves and looks and feels and the expressions. So I'll do like I'll fill pages with facial expressions of the character. And you can do a character sheet, and that's really good if you have multiple people that you're working with. So you can just say, hey, look, this is what it looks like for coloring. This is what it looks like for penciling or for inking. But in my case, I am doing all of it. So I am the penciler, I am the inker, I am the colorist, I am the writer. And that is not how you do hands. Goodness gracious. I keep wanting to draw fingers when in fact this is actually these are like this is gonna be knuckles, right? So I need to make like this, and then like this, and then like that. And I give Michael Bancroft a lot of a lot of a lot of heat for not being able to draw hands, and here I am, not figuring out how to draw hands. But anyway, they're sitting on top of a tower. They're actually sitting on top of a building in Orlando, and the building has 4 pyramids at the top of it. And I just realized that I didn't have a place for him to sit here. And then I started realizing that, wait a second, uh, these characters have related similar powers, right? As evidenced by their costumes. Um, and I was just thinking that this is how she's doing it here, right? And I was thinking maybe I could just do the same thing here with his powers. So if you're into computer science and coding, you'll recognize a little bit of a motif here of binary. And the reason why is because this particular character can uh, create stuff that he has seen digitally from digital media. So that's where his power set manifests itself. So I'm not going to really get into what all the different power sets are for these characters, but suffices to say, I'm still kind of working it out a little bit, but I've got the general idea, and I worked really hard to make it so that it wasn't something that had been seen before, right? When you're um, when you read a lot of comic books, especially when they're like new properties, people will be making characters that like Marvel's got a Quicksilver, DC has a Flash. I'll see a lot of independent cartoonists or comic book creators, and they'll be coming up. Oh, I've got a flashy character too. I've got a fast character too, and I'm like, that's. I think we can do better. So anyway, I don't know how long I'll be going doing this, but we'll see how far it goes. Now, this is actually tight enough to go inking on it, but because of the fact that I'm still just trying to figure out where I want things to go, I'm just trying to pencil this within an inch of its life, and this is kind of my process. So I'll find a line, and I'll just kind of like work with the line and grow that line, and I'll probably overdo it until I just get super comfortable with it. But a lot of these things here I've been seeing, like, this isn't really how musculature works. So, but anyway, but this is a story. It's a science fiction superhero story, and it's set in Central Florida, as evidenced by my earlier comment that these heroes here are actually perched atop the uh, the former SunTrust building in downtown Orlando. And I did a review of a comic recently from Image called Rogue Sun, right? And I want to say Rogue One. I see that, but it's Rogue Sun, and it's set in New Orleans. Actually, it is set in New Orleans, and I like books and stories that are set in places that are unusual, right? Everything's set in like basically a knockoff version of New York City or Chicago or Los Angeles. And I just think, we don't necessarily need another one of those stories. And something I've noticed when I don't know if she's gonna come close or not. Something that I've noticed is that when you watch a TV show or a movie and it's filmed on location in like say Florida, you can really tell that it's in Florida. You can also tell that things are in Southern California when they're supposed to be everywhere else, or you can even tell when things are actually in Vancouver. A lot of things are filmed there. So um, I wanted to make this a story that was unmistakably Central Florida. Hey, dude. Thanks for joining. So now I've got someone to listen to me talk. This is a this is probably going to wind up being the cover for issue 2 of my 6 issue project. And because of the nature of the story, I'm thinking that I might actually make each campaign 2 issues of the story. So, like the first campaign would be issue 1, issue 2 of this story. And before I can get into any of that, though, I have to draw it. And I'll be drawing everything. So I'll be penciling, I'll be inking, I'll be coloring, I'll be lettering, I'll be also writing and editing, and be doing pre-press and all this stuff. And why? Because I'm a former graphic designer. That's why. So, but yeah. So this character. Oh, we got lots of people joining. Goodness gracious. So if you have any questions about what I'm drawing, just put them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. But this is just me sketching. So there's no ranting. Unless you want me to rant, I can find something to rant about. You're an artist who can't draw. I wouldn't be that harsh. Everybody can draw. My wife says she can't draw, but she can definitely draw. So, um, but basically, I'm trying to nail down these the looks of these characters. So this is Vindabud, okay? And now before I explain their crazy names, right? Um, I came up with a name for this character when I was like 12, and I just stuck with it. And it's not a name that means anything necessarily, but for so when I was going to try to do a comic about this, like a real comic, I had to come up with an actual backstory to explain the stupid name. And so I actually came up with one. And the way I came up with it was by my discovery of manga, and how manga has some of the weirdest names and weirdest stories. And that's kind of the center of this story. These characters all get their powers basically from a weird science fiction accident involving a manga, all right, that they're all fans of. So these were all like college students. These 2 are college students. This is a high schooler. This is a, graduate lab assistant actually. And so in the story, they're all in this geek cafe in downtown Orlando, and there's an accident that happens while they're sitting around the coffee table talking about their favorite manga slash anime, and they are holding different collector's cups for each of the characters. And in the weird logic of the story, they wind up basically kind of getting morphed with some of the anime or some of the manga characters. And so they take some of their actual characteristics on as a result of this mystical stuff, which is actually kind of a type of radiation. So let's see, I've got 3 stories I'm working on to see in my head, but I'm going to hire an artist. You know, the what you need to do is you just got to start kind of storyboarding it. You know, that's really what it is. So you got to storyboard it, and as a writer, you can say, okay, on this page 1, this happens. On page 2, this happens, and that's how you go. So this is going to be like a cover that I'm working on here. And let's see here. You can tell that I'm moved in because I'm so disorganized. This is a cover for the third issue. So you can see this character is here and that character is here. Actually, this character is right now the background for my Twitter account. This character is general safety. So, but this is going to be a cover here, and then this is going to be a cover here. So what you're seeing basically with this sketching, the stream sketch or sketch stream, is the first official, artwork that I'm putting together for my project. And this is actually the first page of the entire thing. So, yeah. So my story is a science fiction story. This is Voyager, one of the Voyager probes, and this is the launch of the Voyager probe. And this is literally the first page right here. So, actually, my nieces who are big into space and learning about space, I had them actually uh, draw these little stars. I say, hey, you wanna work on Uncle Drew's comic book? Here you go. Put some stars here. And so whenever I got to ink this and finish it, they'll have their stars. And as a matter of fact, now that I'm here, I got a neat little toy when I went on vacation. Where did it go? Let's see. Is it over here? Yeah, here it is. I was actually looking for one of these things. So let's see here. I'll do this right now. Okay. This is a cool toy, by the way. Whenever my wife and I go to Savannah a lot for vacation, but whenever we do, there's an art supply store there called Blick, and we always go to Blick. And it's a really great art store because of the fact that um, it's near SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. So, okay, how am I going to do this? I want to, there we go. All right, that was just an itch I needed to scratch. Anyway, this is the Voyager probe. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for saying it's awesome. Uh, what I need to do though, this actually, I can't stand how I've done this this stuff. This is the exhaust. So I've been working on alternative ways of doing it, like I'm doing here. So I don't know if you can really see that. Yeah, darken this up. I'm looking to do kind of a more stylized uh, kind of exhaust here. So I'm going to wind up erasing all of this, and this exhaust is going to actually. Oh my God, I need to change all that too. This exhaust is going to come over here, and it's going to go off the page, and it's going to be a full bleed, right? So that's how I'm trying to make this book. I'm trying to make it very dynamic, and I'm putting all my absolute heart and soul into it. By the way, this right here is a flying vampire monkey. So in the story, these two characters, they get trapped in a combination of the Wizard of Oz and Dracula. And so in this particular issue, they are fighting Dracula, who is the Wizard of Oz in the story, and they're just trying to fight for their survival. And so part of the plot of this particular issue, is how they get rescued from that while they're kicking so much vampire flying monkey ass. So I can't even begin to tell you how super excited I am about this particular story. This is one of the first things I came up with when I was talking about it originally, when I was thinking about it. The thing is that when you come up with a premise, right? The fun part of coming up with a premise is, hey, hey, Mike, what's up, dude? I'd read that. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you would read that. Um, but basically, whenever you come up with a premise, the real fun is when you start taking that premise different places. And so what's going to wind up happening here is the Voyager probe, right, is going to be launched, and it's going to encounter a kind of a kind of radiation in space, right? That works kind of like a like the glue for the alternate universes, right? And so this probe is going to send it back to Earth, right? It's going to this stuff here that's floating around, right, is going to encounter this probe, and it's going to take this probe's information and go back to Earth, and then they're going to be doing experiments on it, and it winds up getting exposed to the downtown area of Orlando, creating these heroes who then go about trying to basically put the genie back in the bottle, right? And there's lots of different kind of um, you know challenges that they're facing, right? And they become these superheroes again. For those who are now joining, they become these superheroes because they kind of get transformed with a manga that they're talking about in a coffee shop. And so the idea here is that once I actually do this entire book, I'm actually going to draw a manga. And I don't mean like a Korean manga. That's an inside joke for those who don't get that. I'm going to actually draw an actual real manga. And it's going to be kind of like, say, it's not going to be One Punch Man, but it's going to be in a format like a takamon like this, right? But it's going to be the manga that these characters are based upon. And so it's totally fictional, totally made up. And so people talk about, oh, we're going to try to, make what Western comics are better than manga, or manga is better than Western comics. I'm like, I don't care. I like them both, and I'm going to make a project that appeals to both, which is why I just backed Michael Odin's Mr. Nine Wilms Publishing here. I just backed his SBQR campaign today. I actually backed it for the SBQR book itself directly. And so you should definitely look into that because that's got fabulous art. It just launched today. And I just want to thank Michael for stopping by to listen to me ramble here. So, but if you want, you can, I can send you the link, and you can join. We can talk while I'm working on this. Entirely up to you. Just let me know. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat here, and we'll talk about what's going on. So if you want to talk about your project, then we can talk about your project or your idea. And Michael has got tons of projects, so he's got a whole publishing thing. He's Nine Realms Publishing. So anyway, but see how long I can go tonight. I'm not gonna do one of those like 24-hour streams. I'll probably go for another hour or so. Send it my way. All right, I'll send you the link. Let me go invite, copy link. All right, gentlemen, check your Twitter DMs. All right, the link is sent to the Twitter DMs for everybody. And you want to hop in, and you don't have to be on camera, just be audio with avatars. And we can talk about making good stories.
Hello.
Oh,
How's it going, man?
it's going all right. How are you doing? Congratulations on your new project there, dude. Your new one.
Yeah, man. It's off to a strong start. We're at $1,365 with 27 backers.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and just 28 backers, and we're at one almost just shy of 1,400. That was nice. Whoever helped us out there, thank you.
Absolutely. So I didn't realize what you were doing. I didn't realize that this was going to be like one of these things where you had a bunch of different stuff you were throwing in. I thought this was just an SPQR campaign.
Oh no, that was the whole point. Is this is a way for everyone to catch up on our back catalog, and really for us to bring in some new customers. It's a it's a very different product than what a lot of people are used to, and especially from independent comics and what have you. There's not a lot of manga being done.
No, there's not, and that is a mistake, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And so it was really good to get a chance to go on Bancroft and everything. We got to show off a whole bunch of the art, and I'm not sure if you saw, but I got to reveal Kari's most recent page that she sent me. Is absolutely phenomenal.
I did see it. It's amazing.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
So go ahead.
I was very happy. Like she has absolutely blown me away. Like every expectation I have had, she's completely exceeded.
Indeed. So yeah, no, I was like super impressed with it. But here's the thing, because I was looking at that, right, and I remember that you showed me the art that you had commissioned for it, and I was thinking, oh, this is good. This should be the cover for this. That's what I was expecting it to be. So I was kind of surprised to see that you didn't have it for the cover. And I was even more surprised to see that it wasn't the lead art on the campaign. So far be it from me to tell you
that has been fixed.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, I literally, as we were ending the stream, I was already applying all of Bancroft's notes. So okay. if you allow me to share
there screen, you go. Yeah, no, you can share your screen. Let's see here. Go there, and actually, how do I do that? How do I get you to share your screen?
I have to.
There you go.
All right. So right up there, we've got Elysian Fields Remastered and SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. As I said, $13.90 with 28 backers. Thank you guys. 38% of the 3,600 goal in just a few hours. We're already almost at 40%, and we just launched at 11. And so here we've got, this is our main cover, which is that homage to the original Jojo.
Mm-hmm. Can you scroll back up to the top there real quick?
Yeah.
If I may offer a suggestion, personally, I would just lead off with SPQR's Bizarre Adventure plus Elysian Fields Remaster, because that's the new property, and that's the logic that I have for that.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just my focus was to get all this stuff fixed that was pointed out by Bancroft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of stuff here that is interesting. I'll probably wind up refunding mine and getting more stuff later on, but I wanted to get it back again tonight because I just wanted to have that one in there. But or I do know who you are, so I might be able to hook up some shipping. But anyway, that's awesome. And here's the thing, and I've said this before. I don't know if you've read or if you've watched my manga review videos, but
I have. I've watched most of them.
Oh wow! Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to bring in 80s Made here real quick. I don't know if you've met.
I don't know.
Okay, 80s Made. Thanks for joining.
You were in the Bancroft stream too. I saw you in the chat.
Yeah. I was there.
All right. So Michael Odin, meet Mr. 80s Made.
What's up,
man? He
is
a brand new YouTuber, and he's just getting started. So I've been watching his videos. They're fun, especially for those of us who remember the days before the internet. And so 80s Made, this is Michael Odin.
Yeah,
he
thanks,
is
man.
one of the more successful crowdfunders that have been in the independent scene lately. And you should definitely take a look at his stuff. So, but there you go. You guys have
I saw everything that was on Bancroft stream. So I mean, it was definitely legit. I like the art. Definitely like the art. Yeah, it's something I would definitely look forward to reading. What I mentioned on Bancroft stream though is for me, I'm horrible when it comes to art and judging books by its cover. So if it doesn't grab me right off the bat, I'm passing on it. And I've missed out on some good stories for that same reason. So, your art is amazing, man. You just got to put the best stuff up front.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll definitely back it.
And that was the whole thing, is I went through and I redid the campaign literally right as we were closing up, and that's what I was even showing off. And so like now, as you can see, this Ink Art Louis piece is up there right at the beginning, and then we start off, and this is the main cover of the book. It's all blown up. And we have a little thing to show off.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks really, really good.
80s. Have you do you prefer 80s, or do you have a preferred nomenclature?
This cover here, is this your main cover?
Which one? So
I'm sorry, it's like breaking up real bad. What?
I said, which one are you talking about? Sorry, my internet's getting a little bit wonky.
Oh, okay, yeah, on both ends. Like I've had a hard time hearing everybody. So yeah, no, that first cover says SPQR, whatever you got going on there. It looks very similar to where is it? SPQRS. That is that your main cover?
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, that's
okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I like it. But honestly, if I didn't check out the stream earlier and I was just skimming through books, I probably would have passed on it, because what it does for me, this cover, it's really cool. But I think I would.
Did he freeze, or did I freeze?
No, he did. Okay. He's having some issues with his internet. So I think what he's trying to say is that the new art that you have up at the top is the seller. That's the sexy right there.
Yeah, so, no, and I get that. I wanted this to be the main, like I wanted us to have this homage to the actual, like, because this was the original cover of JoJo.
I totally understand that, and there's nothing wrong with that cover. That's a great cover, it really is. But we're trying to sell the book, or at least you are anyway. I'm not trying to sell it. I don't care. Just kidding. No.
What I will say is that I did take his advice. So every backer that does get this is getting this as a mini print.
Oh, nice. See, that's something I would put up on my wall behind me. So when I start doing more videos where I'm on camera, you could look at that sweet SPQR art behind me, and people are like, where'd that come from? And I'd say, from my good friend Michael Odin, from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Yes, they do the manga over there. So, and people be like, what are you talking about
over there? And so what I even did was when we got down to Elysian Fields, I wanted to showcase the difference. So I grabbed like this original colored page from the first from Pyramid Gambit, and I showcased what it looks like recolored with the new colorist.
Yeah, no, by the way, that art is freaking amazing. It looks like we got 80s back here. Welcome back, sir. Did you get your 80s made?
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened. I got booted out.
So,
these things happen, man. This is the streaming way, man. Like the amount of times that I have been on stream and I've like roboted or just gotten booted because my internet just said no. It's just there's all sorts of things that could happen.
Oh well, streaming is not even the biggest problem with that, because like if you're trying to like use the internet for anything, we have really high speed internet and it's always buffering, it's always crapping out. It's just it's everywhere, it's everything. It just sucks. But I got booted. So I don't know if you heard what I was saying. I was just saying, I love your art, man. But if I didn't check out that stream and like knew who you were and see your book and know your story, I would have honestly like in and out saw that cover. And I think that cover would be a great variant. I don't know what your plans are, what you got going on, but for me, when I look at it, I don't really catch that it's a Roman story or what's going on. I see almost like a knockoff Street Fighter, like the way they're so close and they're fighting. It just reminds me of Street Fighter. So that was my only thing. So
no,
what?
I completely understand that criticism, and I was explaining this to Drew earlier. I wanted to do an homage to the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cover as the main cover of the book, because that was the whole thing. The whole gag is that it's a parody of JoJo.
Well, let me ask you real quick. 80s, are you familiar with manga and JoJo?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so Michael, take it away. Explain.
I know
JoJo's,
what manga
Bizarre
is,
Adventure.
but I don't know what these characters are now.
So like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a weird and fun anime that's just filled with all sorts of ridiculousness, hence the name. And this whole thing kind of just came to be because effectively a page that I follow, a history page, was posting up some merch that they had where they had a JoJo reference with some Roman history. And so I drew Julius Caesar as a stand user. And so that's kind of how this whole thing started.
Yeah.
And so like one of the big hold on. Sorry, I got an email from a backer asking about something.
No worries.
But yeah, so with the whole gag being that it was inspired by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I wanted to have this whole thing where like I got the iconic cover from the final book of JoJo that this story is based on.
Right. Okay.
And have that as the main cover of the book. And
Gotcha.
then I like Inkart Louis was honestly a stroke of luck. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get the guy. Because he said that he was bogged down with commissions and an opening last minute.
Yeah, this particular person that Michael's talking about is a massive artist on Instagram.
Okay.
He's got he's got 300,000 followers or something stupid like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's good.
He's ridiculous, and it's awesome from a promotional
oh, definitely
standpoint. And then but like he had straight up told me, he's like I'd love to do it, but I can't guarantee you anything. Like I'm pretty booked up. And so the whole idea was that this would be a pre-launch cover, pre-launch exclusive edition cover if I could get it. And then he finally had an opening and he was like, hey, I can do it. And so I got it done. And I mean, it's a show stealer. Like it's a beautiful cover. And that's why for everyone that backs the book, you're going to get a mini print of this now. Like, this is something when Bancroft was like, you've already said that you're doing this as an exclusive for the pre-launch backers, so you obviously can't go against that. But figure out a way to make sure that everyone gets a hold of this. And so that's what I'm doing. Is it's going to be a pre-launch. Well, it's the pre-launch exclusive variant, but every backer is going to get a mini print of it.
Of what we're looking at on screen right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, I love the art. I love the book, but, so are you going to do variants or I don't know what your plan is.
So the whole point of this campaign is I've been building up a pretty substantial catalog of books. And so the whole point is to kind of like SPQR is kind of the weird thing to kind of hook new people to come in and check stuff out. But the big thing isn't that we have variant covers. The big thing is that we have a whole bunch of books. So we've got the Elysian Fields remastered. So you come down here. And it's like, this is Pyramid Gambit. And so I showcase like what the original art looked like here, which isn't bad. But then you see what it looks like with the new colorist.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
And then this is the
I
cover.
like that. I like that cover.
Yeah, no, it's outstanding. Like this was our 0 issue, where I kind of set the stage for everything. This is how I kind of came on the screen. the Steam. Yeah, blah, if I can talk. And so like the whole point is that you kind of get you have all these different books that you have available to you, and there's a little bit of fun merchandise. Like I didn't want to go over the top with it. But yeah, so the whole idea was to kind of give people a chance to experience the back catalog of Nine Realms books.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is my first introduction to it. I was telling Drew before that I got out of comics when I was about 13. So like the comic book store that we had, it opened up in the mall, and that was my first introduction to comic books. And I just, I remember watching X-Men, and watching the original X-Men animation, in the 90s there. And so as soon as I saw Wolverine, I was done, hooked, got comics. I started collecting, got them all. The comic book store closed. And then my mom told me to throw them all away because comics were a waste of time. So I got out of it. And it was Cyberfrog that got me back into comics. And I was telling Drew yesterday that it sat on my shelf for a year. I didn't read it for over a year.
Oh, wow.
And then he started talking about Wrecked Planet, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? I might as well read this book because I'm probably gonna back it anyway. So I might as well read it. I got to get into it. And I only bought it because I have toys, I got collectibles, I got all this stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna read it. I'll just put it on the shelf because I wanted to support Ethan. That was my only thing, long story short. And so then I read it and I loved it. And then I started from there. I have an entire shelf back here, the top to bottom, it's filled. I got, I went and got a whole bunch of back catalog Batman stuff. I got tons of CG stuff. I actually was working on a video for tomorrow where I pulled Bancroft's book, just to give you a preview of what I'm talking about. So I had a bunch of CG stuff. I got Brian Polito. I know he's not CG, but it was, I did it through Indiegogo.
Indie's indie, man. It's all
right. Indie's indie,
good.
Right. No, but that's the whole point of my video is it's really not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So like you have things like Dynamite here. So Dynamite, big name, publishing a lot of stuff. They're pushing out the indie stuff now. So I bought this because I love Elvira. Well, I don't know if you checked this book out or not or anything, but they're putting it out like they were independent themselves. They're doing stretch goals. They're doing stuff like stretch goals, but this is an autograph book. This book was $100.
Yeah.
There's my autograph. It's not in the book. It says right here, autograph edition. There's my autograph. I'm getting better quality stuff out of independent Comicsgate, people that have never done comic books before. This was $100. This is a middle finger.
That's not even a remark.
Unacceptable.
This is, and I wasn't even going to bring this up, but then I got an email for their new campaign, their new Elvira book, and I was just like, I love Elvira, and I was just like, nah, and so I was going to do a video on it. So like Bancroft, right? This was his only book he did, right?
Oh, the Lucent, yeah,
right. So I got this for free. The Elvira, I paid $90 for the little print that they had. It was about this size. It was $90 because it said it was autographed by the artist. I got it. It's a lithograph autograph. So it was a lithograph. It's not his signature. It's not an after the fact signature. So I'm just like, that's $90 down the drain. And so I'm mad. And then I look at this. This book is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then like right there's his signature in the book.
Absolutely, man.
Right. So that's what I'm working on.
Hey, Gregory, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. We're just doing a quick draw stream and talking about Michael's new SVQR campaign. And we're also joined by 80s Mate, who's a new culture YouTuber and talking about comics and his newly purchased Comicsgate stuff and his newfound love for comics. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, you can follow me on YouTube at 80s Mate Consumer. And I talk about everything, comic books, TV shows, movies, all of it. But yeah, no, so my thing was, indie is indie, but there's something about Comicsgate. Comicsgate is great, in my opinion. I'm getting better stuff out of people that never made comics than people that did make comics. Like, it's just ridiculous. And I understand that there are logistics behind this book that maybe I don't get. I understand that Elvira has to get paid, and everyone that put a hand in this has to get paid because Elvira is not packaging these books up. I get that, but
they could have
it came wrapped, but it's an autographed edition. They announce it here. They also announce it here on the barcode. On the barcode, it says autograph edition, and it's a literal piece of paper that was not even in the book because the book was wrapped in cellophane. So I get there's logistics that I might not understand, but when you have a big publisher that's been around since 2004, putting out stretch goals, they're putting out stretch goals.
What? Because, that stuff's inexcusable because it is. And Greg asked in the chat, is like, does the autograph affect the not being in the book affect the value? And the answer is yes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, what happens if you lose that little card?
Right. I die, and then my family sells it, and then they throw that piece of paper away. It's a waste. Yeah. It's a waste. And it's just ridiculous, and it's so easy to get lost. But then, my thing is, stretch goals for me aren't necessary. For me, if you want to catch me for a stretch goal, throw in a fridge magnet. For some reason, it's kind of my thing. I don't care about these trading cards and all this, but I get a new CG book. I get somebody that's never done this before, and they're pumping out stretch goals, and they're doing this because it gets the customer amped. It gets people excited. Oh, we hit this goal, we're going to get this free stuff. But when someone like Dynamite is doing the indie thing, but they're not really indie, and they're throwing out stretch goals, it feels really empty. It feels like what Cecil did. It feels like a cash grab.
Yeah.
It's literally all this. And the thing is, that book is filled with all the stuff that they did in the 90s. So they didn't even have to pay anybody to make it. It was already done. They just had to print it and put the book together. Like everyone else in CG is, writing and drawing and putting it together and packaging it up themselves. And at the same time doing YouTube or promoting it however they can. And then I wasn't going to talk about it at all. And then I got the email for they're like, oh, well, back our new campaign. And I was just like, I got some middle fingers.
Yeah.
Well, and
what? It's a shame. It really is a shame because that it goes into a whole other problem. Is there Dynamite isn't the only people that have been, kind of more mainstream than they are really indie.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Boom. I'm Drew. I'm fairly certain that you had to suffer through one of my rants about this, but when Boom did their Mighty Morphin Power Ranger book.
Yes, I have suffered through that rant.
They were asking obscene prices for these the Boom Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series was very well received. The fan base loved it and everything. So they did a Kickstarter for hardcover omnibuses. And the collection, the featured tier that collected all of the omnibuses together was $500.
Yeah.
Right. More expensive than a PS5.
Right.
When you break down the price points for what it takes to print those things, they were overcharging by at least 50%.
Oh, it's a guarantee.
It was gross. I was pissed.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then their new campaign, I did check it out just to double check. They got a couple of these books left. They got a price tag of $266.
Oh, of course they do.
Yeah, I paid $100 for it, and with the paper signature inside, without it being signed in the book, it's just kind of it's why bother?
Which campaign are you talking about? The Elvira thing?
The Elvira. They I don't know, a little while back there was the Mistress of the Dark omnibus hardcover. Everything about it was great. I love Cassandra Peterson. I got T-shirt. I mean, the whole Elvira movies. I love it. I remember being a kid and going to every gas station, and during Halloween you'd have her cut out holding beer. Elvira was ingrained in our culture, and I'm a big fan. And I just was disappointed by the book, and then getting stuff out of CG. It's just funny to me. It's really funny to me. And even if a book is late, because these are independent people doing it, and even if sometimes if there's grammar errors or spelling mistakes, mistakes happen, and some of it's forgivable. But like
No, it's not.
something when you're a bigger publisher, you're known for all this stuff, and then you're pretending to be independent, like going through Indiegogo. It's just kind of, it feels like a cash grab. I just,
Well,
I don't like it.
not all these creators are comic book people. So I mean,
And that
you're
I know.
right that
I understand.
So like when you have a celebrity like Elvira, she doesn't know the first thing about comic books. Give me right. So
no, I get
one
that
of those
people
things
work
where,
for her.
Well, is it? Wait a second. This isn't. No, the Vampirella thing, because there was a big stink about Vampirella.
Yeah, Vampirella with
45 different covers.
Yeah,
with that. So
no, this was so it was, she was doing the promotion on it, but clearly she wasn't packaging the books. Clearly she didn't do any of the work. She literally just signed off on it, but she was the one doing the promotion. Her name's attached to it. She's a huge celebrity, and Dynamite is not a small-time publisher.
Oh,
so that was just my point. And Ethan did the same thing, where he ordered his books and he said he was going to sign them, but he had to open all the books and sign them. And that was the thing. They didn't sign it because these books came sealed in cellophane, but they were promised to be signed. That was my only frustration. And then the lithograph, how much does it cost to make a lithograph? Like just a sheet of just a print like this can't cost a fortune. Just making this sheet here, $90. The signature was a lithograph signature as well, and it was being sold as that because they had two versions. They had one with it and one without it. And when I got it, it didn't have a real signature. It just had the lithograph signature. So it was just like, come on. I keep doing the autofocus.
Yeah, price is a big issue. But for independent, comic producers like Michael here or Bancroft, the fact of the matter is that a lot of it has to do with doing value-added stuff. So like you're right, with like Bancroft, there was like a crap ton of stuff that he threw in there, and I kind of wish he would have like identified some of it more clearly, because I have a bunch of different cards and prints that I don't necessarily know anything about who drew them or who the characters are. Real quick, Gregory is saying it's not forgivable. Hire editors fools, and that is correct. You need to hire editors. And Michael knows about that because he hired me as a page prover.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. But like in the beginning, I'm talking about in the beginning of CG when people are just trying to figure it out. Some of the books, they weren't perfect. Yes, hire editors, simple proofreading. And that was one of my gripes about something else. I'm obviously not a professional at all, and I caught a bunch of errors just reading it myself. So just having somebody proofread it, and it would have solved a lot of issues. But no, you're right. Hire editors, have somebody working on it. Just a second pair of eyes. Yeah, no, that's right. But I was talking about more in the very beginning stages of CG.
Mm-hmm. So Gregory, what I'm drawing here is art from my book. So this is my project, and this is basically like I've told everybody already. This is the cover for the second issue of my 6-issue story. So these are the characters. They're on top of a building in downtown Orlando because the story is set in Orlando, Florida, and they're in kind of like this is actually called the SunTrust Tower, or it's now the Truist Tower. They renamed it, but the SunTrust Tower has like 4 pyramids on top of it. It's the tallest building in Orlando, and so being an native Orlandoan, I said, you know what? I'm tired of all these different stories set in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago. I'm going to do a comic book science fiction superhero story set in Orlando, Florida. And then people were going to be like, well, nothing happens in Orlando. And I said, well, that's a great point. So I need to make something happen in Orlando. Hence the story. The story is about something happening in Orlando, and it ties in with the Space Center, and it ties in with NASA and DARPA, and then I've got like these characters here who are basically they kind of come from in the story a manga inside the story. So these are college students and high schoolers that are fans of manga that get basically, for all intents and purposes, dragged into a Western superhero adventure. How about that for irony? So anyway, so but this character is the main character, or he's the character that I've drawn since I was 13 years old. He didn't look like this when I was 13, so obviously, but I've drawn a webcomic about him and his sidekick. This is his sidekick, and these were some professional superheroes that were actually in the school. These were instructors in the school, and he was like a legacy student who totally sucked at being superhero. So I thought, what I want to do is I want to take these characters, reboot them from the webcomic into an actual straight comic book. And so the challenge I've had for the past 4 or 5 years now is, assembling that story. So yes, Gregory, there is a lot of stuff that goes down in O-Town. Absolutely certain. That is for sure. So, but anyway, this character's name is Vindabud. That's Vindibudd. And this is General Safety, his sidekick. And this is Vindababe, right? Yeah, we are not politically correct here in my comic book. And then this is Common Sense Girl, right? And so none of their names really do anything to let you know what kind of power set that they have, because their names are carryovers from the webcomic, and their names are explained by the absolutely crazy, loony manga that they're fans of. So in the story, they get exposed to this kind of radiation here that's like working kind of like this own. I don't want to say it's it's not like a symbiote kind of thing. It's just kind of this weird alien kind of energy that has covered the entire downtown area of Orlando, and also inadvertently created these characters. And so their jobs, as you know, they have kind of like a Professor X character, which is not on this page. She's like an biologist and astrophysicist. She's like one of these super wonderkin people, and she actually is like their Professor X kind of character, right? So she said, okay, this is what we need to do to save Orlando from turning into this weird radiation hellscape, and turn it back into this weird radiation Disney tourist hellscape than it normally is. So, but anyway, this is just the first or the cover for the second issue of that story, and that's what I'm drawing. So, there's your answer to your question. Common sense is the greatest superpower these days. That's correct. So, actually, in the comic strip, she hands out common sense violation citations for these guys doing stupid things, and she's actually out there doing in the actual webcomic. These two go to the International Academy of Superhero Sciences. Yes, IAS, and she's an actual superhero instructor, but she never does any teaching. She just runs around like saving the world. She has no use for these guys. She thinks they're imbeciles, and she is like, common sense. She's like, you people are doing stupid things, and it's played for laughs. So it's a comic that I've been drawing for 20 years. Really. And so it's like, now I decided, it's time to make it a comic book. And I had no idea that there was a crowdfunding thing. That came secondary to all this stuff, because like I was telling 80s Made, I was just looking on YouTube for how to draw comics, like regular comic books, how to make them. And that's how I came across Ethan's channel. And that's how I got sucked into this whole, there's a whole world of crowdfunding. And oh my God, you can get your book funded. People get butthurt when they don't raise like $50,000 or six figures or whatever. And I'm just like, I just want to get the book made, because that's, to me, it's all about the love of the game. So, but anyway, so I'll let it go back to Michael and 80s here. So if you have any other questions, feel free, but I'll just be drawing and they'll be talking. So there you go. Woo. It's free talent for me, right? Any questions?
What was that?
Any questions?
I don't really have any questions.
Any comments?
No, I mean the story you got going, it sounds pretty interesting. I'd read it.
Yeah, I just actually came up with the end of the story 2 weeks ago. And Michael knows this. I told him about it. So
yep, we had a nice little chat about it. It was really fun.
So the thing here is that it's so hard when you're writing or just even thinking of the story. Forget about the writing part of it. And the writing part's going to come easy for me because I've written dialogue for 20 years. So, But the just the breaking down the story and where certain things fit inside the structure of the story is difficult to nail down. And to that end, I recommend that if you're struggling with something like that, take some classes and take some classes from professional comic writers, even if you're not fans of them on Twitter, because they're professional comic writers for a reason. Unless you're Tom King, don't take time. Don't take lessons from Tom King because I don't like Tom King. His writing. So
No, there's something about that guy.
He's an interesting.
good night,
dude.
Akeem.
I've met him a few times.
You met Tom King a few times?
Yeah, he lives in my area.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
So are you meeting him by staying in his backyard?
No.
No. Okay.
He does. He was at Awesome. I've met him 3 times. So I met him first at Awesome Con, but he also does pretty frequent book signings at a few of the local stores up here.
Oh, really? Nice.
And so when I first met him, he came off as like a huge tool. He was riding high the success of Vision, of his Vision book and his Mr. Miracle book. It was right before Mr. Miracle started to kind of nosedive at around like issue 3 or 5. And so he was kind of like
page 2, but go ahead.
Yeah, people really liked both of those books for a good deal of time. So he had this kind of like arrogant, smug assholeness to him when I first met him. And like the big thing I remember is my ex was taking a picture with me and him, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, don't smile. We're guys. We don't smile in pictures." And I was just like, "Really, man? Like,
don't smile?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to subvert your expectations and smile like a fiend."
But like, it's funny though, because the next time I met him was a few years later, and it was like he was about 3/4 of the way through his Batman run. The wedding had just happened. The not wedding.
Yeah. I'm still sore about that.
Yeah, most people are. And so, like, ironically, he had also come out with this Superman book called Up in the Sky. And it was a very frustrating thing because if you read Up in the Sky, you realized, oh, Tom King can actually write superheroes and do a good job with it. He just chooses not to.
Yes.
And that's so like I was all kinds of ready to like tell this guy off. I was like, I don't like it. It was at a store signing for a store that I'm not particularly fond of because a lot of the employees there are just asses. And so I was just like, if I get a ban, it doesn't matter. It'll be worth it. I get to say I told off Tom. But then I got there and like the store was like barren, and Tom like a complete personality change because like Tom King was just happy to have somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
like he was just like, oh, you came, that's great. Yeah. Like literally there were like 3 people in the store to get his signature. And so like all of a sudden my mindset of, oh, I'm going to tell this guy off is like, this would be the equivalent of kicking a puppy. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And so like instead I was just like, so here's the deal. I did bring my issues of Superman Up in the Sky for him to sign. And I was like, what?
Oh, so you were gonna kick him in the face and have him sign your book?
I was gonna have him sign my book and then kick him in the face.
Okay, all right.
I deliver the coup de grace after.
I was waiting. I was curious to hear your plan.
But anyways, so like I asked him, I was like, you know, everyone talks about your Batman run, but like you don't really like. I've read Superman Up in the Sky, and this is a much better story. And he just goes, yeah, I had a lot more fun writing Up in the Sky, and I just went, it shows.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
it's like, and then I did get one jab in at him because it's something. There is something that he does, and like Tom King also writes like a lot of like Sergeant Rock books, like Sergeant Rock stories, and when he does, they're actually usually pretty good. But my one big qualm, and it's something that any decent editor would have caught, is that he constantly calls World War II the Great War.
Oh my God.
World War II. That was World War One. And so the one ding I got on him.
He's a CIA operative. How does he not know this?
Yeah, I understand.
I can't get past that part. That's the I don't read his stuff.
Like, so I straight up told him, was like, oh, by the way, you keep calling World War II the Great War in your books. That's World War One. And he just like a veil just freaking went over his face of, oh shit. Yeah. He just goes, you're right. Man, you should be my editor. And I was just like, get me a job at DC. I can make your books better.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, you probably could. Because I did a video. I don't know if y'all saw my video today about this. But I hit my limit with Tom King. And,
yeah, I thought.
And yeah, no, you did. That's right. You commented. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the dude can write, but he keeps writing this garbage. And it's like, I'm Guy Gardner is not the nicest guy. Okay. No. So I think everybody can understand that Guy Gardner is a bit of a tool bag, and which is fine. But there's no reason to treat the character, because there are people that like the character. There's no reason to do that to that character. And yeah, I know it's just a comic book. It's not serious really, but that it's just mean spirited, and especially when the cover of that book is Guy Gardner. When you go to look at that, and it's a great cover, it's like, oh my God, this looks like a lot of fun. This is Guy Gardner being badass. I'm gonna buy this book. And then you go buy it, and then it's Guy Gardner gets murdered, and then his ex-girlfriend bangs this guy that murdered him right in front of his dead body. So
yeah,
this it's like the infamous girlfriend in the refrigerator. It's like, why are we doing this?
It's the inverse of it.
yeah, you're right. It's the inverse of it. But it's like, what is the entertainment value of this? And I can't for the life of me, in a DC book, right? Now, this is not a horror book. A horror book would be a different thing. This is just a DC comic book. Yeah, I guess it's Black Label, but that can really mean anything. But the fact of the matter is that it's just like, I don't understand what's wrong with Tom, right? And again, I don't personally have any animosity towards Tom himself. It's just that I just, I know he can do better, and it's sad that he's not. So I would love to pay him by buying his DC stuff, but I just can't anymore. So, but that's my rant about that.
I don't know. I feel something similar with anytime I try to pick up something new. I tried to, when I first got back into comics, I picked up as much of the Batman stuff as I could grab. Anything I was going on, I was looking on the internet to find the best order, the best ones to get to have that collection. And then in that, I was grabbing like big lots from eBay and selling the things I had doubles of and that. And so I ended up with a lot of the new 52 and a lot of the newer stuff, and I just wasn't a big fan. So I kept all the older stuff. I sold it. And then just reading the newer stuff, I just over and over and over again, it was a drag to read. Some of it was boring, or they started laying in some agenda stuff where I'm just like, that's not for me. But then a couple weeks ago was my wife's birthday, and she didn't want to do anything. So I dragged her to the comic book store, and I was going through the dollar bins, and I was actually looking for Dale Keown. I was looking for Pitt, because I'd never read it and everyone talks about it. So I was looking for that. I actually found a bunch of She comic books from Billy Tucci. I have a ton of them. And yeah, I put it on Twitter. I said, look what I found. And there was like, I think like 4 or 5 or 6 of them. They were all Crusade comics, because there was like a couple, most of them were she, and then I found like one or two that were still pushed out by Crusade Comics, but they were a whole different character I never heard before, and Billy Tucci did one of the covers, so that was just really neat. And then I walked in, they were sitting on top of the dollar bins, like I didn't even have to thumb through them; they were just right there. So I was just like, oh, that's great. So I took them home, and I had my 5-year-old daughter who loves Spider-Man. She's addicted. Has Spider-Man jammies, the bedding, the plays with the toys, watches the movies, everything. So we couldn't leave the store without the Spider-Man comic book. So I was like, I thumbed through it real quick. I said, fine, whatever. The first line out of that book, I'm reading it to her. It says, "Sorry, not sorry." That was the first line. I was just like, this is nuts. This is boring. And then that whole book, it was Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man book, but it was Gwen and or Ghost Spider and Miles Morales and Venom. It was an introduction to Venom, and they're seeing this big black Spider-Man, and they're just assuming it's Miles Morales who's committing the crime. So there's like they're laying in some racism in there, So Gwen and Peter Parker are like, "Hey, you're black, and it was a black spider, and it was in your neighborhood, and it looked like you." And he's like, it wasn't me. He even throws his costume in the trash as he's like basically crying on the bed without crying. And then at the end of it, out of everybody, it's Gwen. It's a Spider-Man book, but it's Gwen as Ghost Spider who's fighting Venom. So I was just like, not a fan. Not a fan of any of the new stuff. Anything I've read, I can't get through it. I don't
think that you kind of have to kind of like take it one at a time, and when you're getting back into it, it's hard to be discerning for stuff because you don't know necessarily what you're going to pick up.
Right.
And so you kind of have to like say, okay, I know that if I'm going to buy a Tom Taylor book, I'm going to have Tom Taylor totally miswriting these characters. So, and Tom Taylor is a great writer. He's very talented. He's very funny. But I just know it's like, I see Tom Taylor. Okay. I see Dan Slott. Dan Slott has me blocked on Twitter, and I will not buy Dan Slott book until I am no longer blocked by Dan Slott. So I don't care how good he is. So, but that's just one of those things. It's like, I don't care. I might like the Fantastic Four, but I definitely don't like Dan Slott's Fantastic Four. But one book that just came out again today is book 2 of One Dark Night. So by Jock, and Jock is awesome. So whenever I see anything that he's drawn, that it's like that's an instant buy, even if Tom King wrote it. So one writer I do enjoy greatly is Scott Snyder, and I don't know. Do you know about Scott Snyder?
Yeah. Okay. I think I've got some of his books. I do have some of the newer Batmans that were not in continuity. They were like one-offs. I got a couple of those. I have that. I just read it. Last year. It was the one where Joker's really the good guy and Batman's the criminal. And then it was crazy.
You're talking about Sean Gordon Murphy's White Knight.
Yeah. I got that one. I got a couple odd ones that aren't in the normal and the new ones.
80s Made. Make sure you drop your link if you haven't already in the chat. So
let's see here. Do that right now.
Thanks, Gregory, for hanging out with us, man. Appreciate that.
Let's see.
What's the latest update on your campaign for SPQ? Or any new backers yet, Michael?
I think that it's kind of slowed down for tonight. It's about 1 a.m, so it's almost 2 a.m, so that's to be expected. People are going to sleep.
Okay.
But I'm at 1,495. So just shy of 1,500, a little bit under halfway to the 3,600 goal.
Okay.
Not a bad day one.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, can I ask your esteemed opinion on this art? Do you have any recommendations? Do you have anything that you would think would be a good idea?
I mean, I'm the writer, so like the wrong question for me. I think that it's really cool. What are the only question I have is what are they sitting like? What is everyone sitting / like leaning on?
Okay, so general safety here is leaning on the side of the pyramid, right? That's
Okay.
what he's doing. He's actually just sitting there. Common Sense Girl is also just kind of sitting there. This is actually a plane, right? And this is the corner of the. Actually, let's go back here. There we go. This is actually the corner of the pyramid, going all the way down here. And so Vindabud here has created a digital stool. So he makes things out of zeros and ones. That's the way his energy manifests itself. So these things are like where Vindababe is from things that she's read. So her stuff uses the English alphabet. That's how the energy is kind of manifested. So she's created herself a nice little platform, and it's just energy that she's sitting on. And the same thing for Vindabud up here. So that's what's going on with that.
It's a really good layout, and I like the designs of the characters. They're very unique.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of have a well balanced, good cover. The title for the book will probably be wind up going here, but this is after they in this particular issue they actually battle a character called Florida Man.
Florida Man, huh?
Yeah, there's a Florida Man. I have a Florida Man character, and Florida Man controls zombie, or actually, he controls like zombie pink flamingo, plastic pink flamingos, and he has an army of them, and these four have to find a way to battle the zombie pink flamingos that Florida Man, who is dressed like a typical classic Florida cracker from back in the day, with his cracking whip. He's got a piece of the containment device for this energy, and so they have to go up to the top of the SunTrust Tower here, right, and battle him for that piece of energy. So I'm a big fan of covers that actually show you what's in the book, so you know what you're buying. And so ultimately, if this book winds up getting completed and funded and published, I'm gonna have it in some local comic shops that people can buy, and I will sign it for real. So I will open it up and I will sign it. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Outstanding work.
Did you get your link in there? Yeah, there you go. Good. All right. Thanks a lot for Gregory for coming by. Appreciate it. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Oh no, I just went over and grabbed some of my favorite Batmans. So the Scott Snyder, did Scott Snyder do that one where Joker's face gets cut off?
That is part of his new 52.
So I've read that, but the majority of the new 52 stuff I wasn't a fan of, but I did really like the White Knight. This one was great. I'm not on screen anymore, but the White Knight, Sean Murphy, I really liked that a lot. And Batman 3 Jokers, Jeff Johns. This one I thought was great. And Brian Azzarello, the Joker. These three are the newer ones that I liked. And the Batman run that I've been collecting, I've just been going back and trying to get like in order the best possible ones. And I've only read up to the Joker. Like, so the Killing Joke, that's the only one I've run up to. So I haven't got into, Nightfall or anything like that. I haven't gotten to the Bane stuff. So that's where I am with it. I'm trying to collect them and then read them in order. But
right,
the newer stuff, those are the only three that I've been a really fan of.
Are you trying to buy individual issues and read them, or are you buying trade paperbacks?
Trade paperbacks. So I have been a huge fan of the trade paperbacks and the collected editions. So I've been going that route. And it wasn't until I started getting to the CG more that I wanted to go to the comic book store and then get the single issues and look in the dollar bins and try to find that stuff and collect the older stuff that everyone's talking about. I did find some Pitt my comic book store, they called me. They found some pit, and they called me up, and I went and got them. And and they're not in order. I mean, I think I got like issue 1, issue 5, issue 10, like, so they're random. But I'd rather have the trades. I'd rather have the hardcover collected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I would recommend that you for seminal books like Killing Joke. DC makes an absolute line of books. They're oversized. I'll give you an example. Actually, it was in my video.
Well, I have I don't have that in absolute, but I do have the Swamp Thing absolutes. I got all 3 volumes.
Yeah.
So
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I'm super, like, I got back into comics, so I'm not familiar with everything that's out there, but I'm on my stuff there. So I got what did I get? Yeah, I got the Swamp Thing absolutes. And I got deluxe editions. I got a couple. I got the Long Halloween deluxe edition. So I've got a couple of those. Yeah, the only real floppies I have, the single issues, majority of them are Comic Skate stuff.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, and then like before I got back into comics, because like I said, so let's see, because my wife was, I told you, Drew, but I got out of the military. My wife stayed in, and so we've been moving around a lot. So when we were in Dahlgren, so it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I finally read the Cyberfrog, the Blood Honey. So I finally read Blood Honey, and then that's when I was just like, oh, I got to get more comics. I got to start reading, and I started doing all that. But before that, I was really big into like toys, collecting like things from my childhood, statues. I have downstairs, I have Han Solo sitting on a tauntaun, in his snow gear. Like I've got the Sideshow collectibles, that stuff behind me. You can see I've got my ladies, Poison Ivy, that type of stuff. So I've always had that, and then growing up in the 90s, I'm a big fan of Batman animated series. So I've had that on disc. But it was getting back into comic books just really completed everything for me. I was always a retro gamer. I never really stopped, but comic books are really, I mean, I went nuts last year. I probably spent hundreds of dollars, a week in trying to find old trades and stuff. I really fell in love with Bruce Campbell, or not Bruce Campbell, J. Scott Campbell, and the
Bruce Campbell,
Danger
you should
Girl.
fall in love with. He is a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. He's got, the chainsaw hand, great guy. The chin right there. But no, J. Scott Campbell, like, it was Danger Girl, that whole run. I got that. I loved that. And then I've got a couple of the trades that are after that. He did the cover, but he didn't do any of the real work inside the interiors. And I've liked them. I've liked them all. There hasn't been too many books that I haven't really been disappointed with, but all the stuff I've been collecting is the older stuff, the stuff from the 90s, the early 2000s. I haven't gotten too many things that are new. And the few things I did, like I said, I would get big lots from eBay. I would just buy like 30 or 40 books at once, and then I would just sell what I didn't need or trade it up. And so I'd keep some of the newer stuff. And Ethan's always talking about the New 52 and Jeff Johns and that. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a chance. And it was just, the first book would be okay, and then you get to the second book and it's just meh. And then it just was down there for me. It wasn't my jam. I wasn't a big fan.
Michael, what kind of comics would you recommend for people?
Oh, I mean, it honestly all depends on like what you're looking for from a storytelling perspective. Like if you're looking for like good superhero stuff, if you're looking for good Batman books, I mean, I really enjoyed the beginning of Scott Snyder's New 52 run. The Court of Owls storyline is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, actually, I read that. I have that one. That's the only New 52 I kept, I think.
Like, you already hit White Knight. Sean Gordon Murphy is a brilliant creator, and I'm actually looking forward to he's done 2 installments of White Knight, and he's doing a 3rd one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll definitely be checking that out. Dan Mora and Mark Waid have a World's Finest book out right now that is a love letter to what those characters should be.
Mhm.
It also helps that they've brought back like that silver, that Bronze Age era of design with like Batman in the blue and gray and everything, and Superman's costumes nice and bright, and there's Robin in the book. Actually, that's been a refreshing change of pace. But that's
That book
just
is an amazing book. That is an amazing book.
World's Finest is very good. I was very happy with the first issue. Now, as far as like indie books are concerned, honestly, it's just one of those things where it's very difficult to gauge indie right off the bat. I've backed 97 campaigns on Indiegogo in the past 3 years, and some of them come back and it was well worth the time, and other times there are times where they could have definitely used an editor, or they had this or that, and it's one of those things that this is, while this is my direct competition, as well, every single, while we're all in this together, at the end of the day we're also competing for the same market. So it's definitely one of those things where you kind of look, and you can, what I will say is, without putting any disparaging things on creators that I feel like could use some better work, some better like writing and what have you, I will say that the creators that I have been impressed with so far are Matt Krotz, who does Kyrie, and I believe his Wild Tales of Kyrie campaign is still going, so you should be able to get a hold of all of his books on there.
Okay,
he's very good.
I'll check that out.
I've heard
Nathan Rosario has Stump 1 and 2. Both of those are pretty solid. Got a very Sam Keith Max vibe to them. I mean, you already have Michael Bancroft's The Lucent, which I enjoyed a good deal.
Oh, I've read it twice now. I really loved it. And the thing for me, and that most books, and I said it before, is the art. If the art is amazing, and that's the type of art I usually go for. Like, I'll buy it blind, and I love that story. I didn't expect to love the story like I did, and I read it twice now. I do. I really like it.
Yeah, Lucent was very good. And I was happy it was for it's always good when you see your friends do well.
Oh yeah, always.
God's Hand by Anthony Figueroa was really solid. I enjoyed that. Lost Pages by the Diaz brothers, very good. I actually got their second book here earlier this week. It came in the mail, and really, really enjoyed how that turned out. Both the main book and the people Ash Can were very well done. But yeah, like that's one of those things where it really is. I'd say that's one of the things that is the big risk with indies. Like, at the end of the day, you don't know how, obviously in the mainstream it's true to this extent as well, where you don't know until the book comes out. But at the end of the day, in the mainstream, it's like that's like $3 to $5 versus
$35.
That's like 20. Like, on average, you're looking around 25 a book. And like Drew knows this. There was a book that I got recently that, like, I got a catch up tier, and I got the books and I read them, and they were horrible. I was really not pleased.
Yeah, no, that happens. I've had a couple that are like that.
Yeah, and it's bound to happen. Just law of averages alone. There are going to be people that they have disposable income. They hire an artist. They think they've got a good story, and they go out there and they are able to market well, and that's great. But like what you end up getting is a book that needed an editor to go in there and be like, look, your narrative isn't flowing well. Like how are people supposed to get attached to these characters? Like how is your story going to progress? Like what's going on? And I think that that's probably one of the biggest things is that, and as another note is look and see what, if a book has an editor on an Indiegogo campaign. If it doesn't have an editor, it probably needs one.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, definitely. Oh, I've noticed that too. And like I was saying, like, yeah, in the beginning it might have been forgivable, but definitely not now. Like people are knowing what they're doing, people are getting into it, and you're spending that kind of money. It really is unforgivable. No, I get it. I've backed only 40 campaigns, and technically it's 39 because the one campaign, the very first thing I ever did was Super Troopers 2. I backed that. I did. It was I got the commercial.
That's awesome. You made a right decision.
Yeah, so I backed that. I got the glasses. They sent me a little badge. It's got Super Trooper 2 on it. So, and I got the T-shirt.
Funny. Broken Lizard Group's great.
Oh yeah, they are. I love them. I love them. They were great. So that was the only non on my 40 campaigns. That's the only non indie comic that I have backed. Is that so 39 books? And I'll truth be told, I haven't got all of them. There's plenty that I'm still waiting on.
You might not.
That I know, that I'm fully aware of. But I've been very discerning on who I've backed. It's almost always the art. And so Bancroft's, I was impressed with the art from the get-go. The very first time somebody was talking about it and I saw it, I was impressed. And then I went to go add it to the cart and it was like $53. It's just like, fuck that.
That good old fashioned Australia shipping.
Yeah, the shipping was nuts. That was the thing. The shipping was nuts, but I got it, and I'm glad I did. And I'll get his next book. Like I'm glad that for me it was worth the money. But
Painted Death is looking really, really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The only thing that I was mildly upset about with Lucent is that I've gotten to know Bancroft pretty well in my time in. We like it. And he was always talking about how he had Gilgamesh in the Lucent. And so I'm sitting here reading Lucent and I'm like, when's Gilgamesh going to show?
Yeah.
Is this Gilgamesh? Is this person in the Levant at the beginning of the Gilgamesh? I mean, I dig it. And so when he dropped the Painted Death trailer, I straight up sent him a message like, good to see Gilgamesh is finally showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I like that one. Yeah, but so I've definitely backed a bunch. I've had some stinkers and I've had some winners, but I've been very discerning on it. And the one that I mean, I like the dude a lot. Patrick Thomas Parnell, like the dude a lot, but his book, I wasn't going to get it. I wasn't really a big fan of the art. He's a great artist. Like, don't get me wrong at all. It's just it wasn't like the Lucent. Like, it wasn't like this. It wasn't like Cyber Frog. Like, so to me, it wasn't appealing. And I backed it because he did this Japanese cover and there was a lady on it. And I was like, oh, I got to get a lady book. So I got it. And man, did I like the story. I was really impressed by it. That one and Starlight Cats. I freaking loved that book. It's a book that I could read to my kid and there's no nonsense in it, no weird stuff. It was just enjoyable. It was just a fun book. But yeah, there's definitely been some stinkers.
Oh, 100%. Dave Brink is always a good bet for independent books. If you've not read Perfect 10.
No, I was going to. So like right now, not that money's tight, but my wife went on deployment and she's still in the Navy, but she's not on a ship right now. She went over to overseas to shore duty over there. So she actually has to pay for her own food, pay for this, pay for that. And it's not until like the end of the month where we get reimbursed for a lot of that. So there's a lot of campaigns. There's a lot of stuff that I'm into, but I got to hold off just a little bit. But yeah, Perfect 10, I'm really looking forward to. The Natverse, that one looked really good. Let's see, your book. I found out about that today. So there's definitely a long list of books.
It it's not only a long list of books, dude. It's an ever-growing one. Trust
Oh,
me,
and
man,
that's the
it.
thing too. And then to try to find the time to actually read some of them, I've got books that I've had. Like I have yet to get through Graveyard Shift. I've got volume 1, 2, and 3, and I haven't even been able to sit down and read them because I got a 5-year-old. My wife's on deployment. I'm trying to do this YouTube thing, while doing the house thing. It's just, and I'm doing homeschooling with her, so it's just where's the time to read a book? And then at the same time,
I don't even need to explain that to me, man. I completely get it. I'm a single dad. I went through a separation and a custody battle here in the last year.
Oh, I get that too. I've been there.
Trying to finish up my degree, and I was fortunate enough that in my custody fight, I won primary custody of my kid, and so like I'm getting him to school, taking care of his laundry, making sure that we've got stuff going on, that I work armed security. Right now I'm trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
But like, it's just one of those things where it's time to read always feels like you don't have any.
No. Well, and see what I did last year was I had a schedule and it worked out really, really good. But so far, it's not really working out this year. So last year when my wife was on deployment, I was able to get my daughter in this routine where, we'd eat dinner, we'd do our thing, 7:00. I'd turn on one of her TV shows or whatever, and her bedtime's 8. So from 7:00 to 8:00, I'd sit down, she'd watch her show, and I would read one of my books. And most of them I'd finish in that time. There was a couple that, I'd put her to bed, do her story, get her settled, and I'd come back and finish the book. And so I was doing a book a night. And then this year, that's out the window. And then I'm trying to YouTube thing too. And that's just adding to my pile of stuff. And so, yeah, my ever-growing list of books I want and my ever-growing list of books that I need to read, it's just getting higher and higher and higher. Yeah, awesome. I get it.
All right, gentlemen, it's kind of late for me, so you don't have to go home.
You are all good. I was about to be like,
no worries, man. No worries.
But you can't stay here.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Well, I'll catch you guys later.
All right, thanks a lot for joining.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot. You have a good night, guys.
You too.
Have a good
Bye.
night, guys.